Mr. Twinkles, it is time once again to throw aside caution and go into the darkest recesses of the darkest, most evil, most corrupt place in the world. No, I'm talking about the comment section on YouTube! Today, Mr. Twinkles and I are going to look at the comments on a video that we put up called What is Christianity? Now, we have not looked at these comments yet, so this is the first time we're delving into the dark recesses of the internet. The comment section. Let's see, Mr. Twinkles, what do we got? None. Oh my gosh. Kind of thought that one would be a little more controversial. 4 people gave it a thumbs down, but didn't say anything. Okay, well, at least I know that you didn't like it. I don't know why, but it's not important to know why. I just need to know you're angstful. How about this one? Is Luke Skywalker a moral monster?
Is Luke Skywalker a moral monster?
I just said that. All right, let's see the comments here. Ooh, Where Is My Jam said, good quality video, bro. Thanks, Where Is My Jam? God bless you. So nice. Isn't that nice, Mr. Twinkles? Good people out there. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this one's bound to get some angstful comments. Why am I one of these guys? Why am I a young earth creationist? Mr. Twinkles! To the comments section. Raw Matt says, Hugh Ross, I hope his talk was not on dental care. Oh my gosh. Okay. In case anybody didn't watch this, this is why. This is why. That's so impolite, Raw Matt. But funny, so I'll let it go. And then Zero says, I think you forgot to include the so-called evidence. Well, I think you forgot to watch the so-called video, Sorzen, because no, that's why I am a young Earth creationist. I'm explaining my personal journey to how I was an old Earth, Big Bang sort of evolutionist, and then I learned not to be. This wasn't meant to be an argument to persuade you. This is just telling you my journey. Did you watch the video? Let me just rant for a second about this. This is one of the reasons why the comments on YouTube are just not worth going to so much. Mr. Twinkles, I'm coming back here. The reason why the comment section on YouTube is so frequently not worth the time is because of stupid comments like this, which clearly go, I didn't watch your video, but here's why I think you're an idiot. And I go, okay, so I said something. You've decided not to watch what I said or read what I said, depending on the format. And then you're going to respond and try to explain I'm an idiot. And I'm just, why? Let me save all of you a lot of time. If this is your thing, if your thing is going to people's comment section and sort of going, I don't know what you said, I don't know. Let me save you a lot of time. Write this phrase down and use it over and over. Copy and paste. Goes like this. I don't understand your position, but you're wrong and I hate you. Boom. That says everything that you need to say. Because you're acknowledging, all right, I didn't watch, didn't read, I don't know what your point is, but you're wrong and I hate you. And that's all you're trying to say. That's all you're communicating. You're not trying to educate or help anybody. You're just trying to communicate your own ignorance and hate. So do it efficiently. I'm here to help. What do you say, Mr. Twinkles? You're right. Let's see what else there is. How old is young? How old is young? I just said that. Let's check out the comments. Ooh, Godless Gamer. Wow. Having read his name, I can't imagine what his comment will be. Let's find out. It's weird that none of those contemporary civilizations like the Egyptians noticed that the whole world was flooded. Oh, you poor, ignorant fool. Well, Godless Gamer, if you weren't spending so much time playing video games and listening to the idiot atheists on internet, you would know that they did, actually. Let me do a little quick research for you here. This is a list of some of the 250 civilizations around the world that list in their historical or sometimes mythological accounts a global flood narrative. 250 cultures around the world have stories that overlap a lot with the biblical account, but less realistic. So Hawaii has it. China's got it. Central and South America, American Indians, the Aboriginals. Everybody around the world all seems to think that in the ancient times, the entire world was flooded, and there's a lot of overlap as to why. So this image is from Answers in Genesis, and they list some of the highlights of things that get repeated in these stories. So men in transgression. So the Bible tells us God flooded the earth because there was sin, that the world was so full of wickedness and violence. And it specifically says violence, which gives me the sense that it was just the world had gone to war with itself. And God said, well, if everybody's going to try to kill everybody else, I'm just going to do that for them and get it over with quick. So divine destruction comes. It is judgment. It's because of judgment. And that's what this is. Man is evil. Man, in some of the stories, men are evil. In the Hawaiian account, the gods are trying to take a nap and man won't shut up. You know, they're like the apartment upstairs where they keep playing their guitars and stomping their feet. So in the Hawaiian account, the gods are just annoyed and we're like, all right, we're going to flood the whole world to get rid of you people so you can get some peace and quiet around here. You're pretty quiet. Get a big canoe and fill it with animals. We're going to flood the place. But, the wickedness of man, judgment by the gods, there's a favored family. Now, Ark provided the type of boat depends on the Ark story. So, for instance, you probably heard of the Epic of Gilgamesh. If not, you're not a history nerd. But if you go to one of the atheist websites, they'll throw that and be like, here's the story that the Genesis account is stealing from. Okay. Number one, it is not a story that is older than the Genesis account. It is a story whose oldest existing copy is older than the oldest existing copy of Genesis. It doesn't mean it was written first. It means that of the two existing oldest copies we have, the Epic of Gilgamesh is older than the Genesis one. Not that it was the story was originally written first, but of those two existing oldest copies, Epic of Gilgamesh is older. I hope that made sense. Mr. Twinkles, did that make sense? Okay. So in the Epic of Gilgamesh, the story is kind of similar. The gods are angry and decide to flood the earth. They choose a man and his family to survive and fill a boat with animals. But the boat that they have him build is a cube. And if you throw a cube into wavy waters, it doesn't stay upright. It's going to flippity flop all over the place and everyone's going to be thrown up for a whole year. The boat described in the Ark has all of the stability of a modern barge. Like, it is one of the most stable boat designs in the worst possible weather. It's got all of the basic features of functional stability and large cargo space. And any way that you can study it, the Ark is the most plausible of all these. But again, just to get back to his point, why don't other ancient cultures mention this whole flood thing if it was across the entire world? If there's a global flood, we should hear it everywhere. And we do. We hear it everywhere. Interesting study, I'm going to try to remember to leave a link below, is that the ancient Chinese language, ancient written Chinese language, the way it was described, certain words and phrases and things like that show an understanding of the biblical account of the creation and the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, the fall, and the flood. All of those things are found in ancient Chinese language. Hieroglyphs is the wrong word, pictoglyphs, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to leave a link below. Look that up. It's really, really interesting. Something that historians have just been figuring out. So in answer, it's mentioned all over the place because it really happened. And if you want to see evidence that it happened, look at geology. Geology never made any sense to me until I started studying the flood account. When I first started studying geology back in college, I didn't believe the flood was a thing. I didn't give it any thought. I just assumed the billions of years like everybody else did because that's what I was taught my entire life. But then I heard about the flood geology explanation, and suddenly all the observations made sense. For instance, there's a track of hundreds of miles of marine invertebrates in one of the layers of the Grand Canyon that goes from the Grand Canyon across to Los Angeles. And they're all pointing in the same direction as if all of that rock was a mud flow moving in the same direction. Because it was. And you find things like marine invertebrates. Mr. Twinkles, you got to correct me when I say things like that. You find marine invertebrates like clamshells at the top of mountains. Like at the top of Mount Everest, you can find clamshells. So either those clams were really good climbers on the way up and then just gave up and, I don't know, they're frozen. They'd still be fresh. But they're at the top of mountains. You find them in Texas. You find them everywhere. And it's the only thing, the flood account is the only thing that accounts for the observations in a way that logically makes sense. So I don't have enough time to explain all of that, but again, I'll try to leave some links, but feel free to leave questions. Send me an email. I don't know, whatever. Mr. Twinkles, do you think we covered it all? Great. So thanks for your comments, everybody, and don't forget to write good comments so we can give you good responses. From Mr. Twinkles and myself and all of us here at A Bit of Orange, Jesus loves you.